And we have Facebook. So their net worth is $53 billion. The man behind it all is 30-year-old Mark Zuckerberg, who is worth $34.6 billion. Holy crap. He is one of 5 CEOs who founded the company. Mark Zuckerberg was the second youngest billionaire at the age of 28 years old. The only person younger than him is his co-founder of Facebook, Dustin Moskovitz. And guess what? He's 8 days younger. Facebook was first FaceMatch.com, which allows students to select which is the best 2 looking females. So you pretty much go to the site and you decide who's hotter, and you click on one and they have like ratings. Mark built a site for fun. Eventually Mark Zuckerberg turned that idea into the Facebook. It wasn't until he partnered up with Facebook's first president, Sean Parker, who wanted to drop the in the website name. Alright, moving in at number 9, we have Pfizer. And they're worth $67.4 billion. Pfizer is a joint venture between 2 German-American cousins, Charles Pfizer and Charles Erhardt. In Williamsburg, the cousins launched a lab back in 1840. They wanted to become a research-based pharmaceutical company. It wasn't until 1849 until they became a company. Right now the headquarters is in New York, which is in the States, and they have over 78,000 employees. Moving in at number 8, we have the tech giant Microsoft, and they are worth $69.96 billion. The company was founded back in 1975 by Bill Gates, who is now being called the world's richest man. He has a network of $76 billion. He has more money than Microsoft is worth. What happened? Microsoft develops, manufactures, and licenses computer softwares for personal computers. They are best known for their greatest product called Microsoft Office. And you guys might have heard of it. And of course they went on to make the Internet Explorer. And also with Internet Explorer, boom, Xbox, they created this one too. Oh yeah. And they went on and they made tablets. But Bill Gates didn't do this alone. Have you guys ever heard of Paul Allen? No? Well, this is the co-founder of Microsoft. Why haven't we heard of him? Bill Gates was just really good at being the forefront of the company and being the face. Just like Steve Jobs and Apple, we have no idea who else was involved. So Paul Allen, the co-founder, is worth $17 billion. So IBM, with a net worth of $112 billion, comes in at number 7. IBM manufactures and markets computer hardware and software and offers infrastructures, hosting, and consulting services in areas ranging from mainframe computers to nanotechnology. So the company was founded back in 1911, making them a really old company. And this is of course by Charles Rantlett Flint. In 2012, they were ranked America's biggest company. They have one of the biggest firms. They have over 435,000 employees worldwide. And now they're also in 170 different countries. Alright, moving into the number 6 spot, we have AT&T. And they're worth $126.7 billion. It was founded back in 1983 and used to be called Southwestern Bell Corporation, or SBC for short. So the headquarters right now is down in Dallas, Texas. AT&T is the second largest provider of mobile telephone and the largest provider of fixed telephones. Right now, currently, they have over 120.6 million customers. And as of this year, they have more than 243,000 employees. The CEO and chairman right now is 54-year-old Randall L. Stevenson. He makes a salary of $1.6 million a year, which doesn't seem like much, being, the head of a company worth billions. So I looked into Randall some more, and I figured out, yeah, he was making a lot more than it says. He was making another $3.7 million in bonuses, and then it shows that he was making $20.6 million in other miscellaneous. Whatever the heck those things are, he's making a total of $26 million a year. I knew you were making more money, buddy. Berkshire Hathaway comes in at number. So this company is worth $143 billion. And it started off with 2 textile manufacturer companies. One based in Rhode Island and the other one is in Massachusetts. The founder was Oliver Chase back in 1888. The company was invested by Warren Buffett, who is currently still the CEO. Warren has a net worth of $73 billion, making him the 3rd richest person in the world behind Bill Gates and Carl Slim. Warren Buffett used his company to buy many other ones like Fruit of the Loom. We have Dairy Queen. He invested in the Helzberg Diamonds. You have Geico. Berkshire Hathaway has also invested in major companies like American Express. You have Coca-Cola. You have DirecTV, IBM, Tesco, Walmart, you have Wells Fargo, and many more. General Electric is worth $147 billion, and this puts them in at number 4. The company was founded in New York in 1892, and it was by 4 founders. The most famous one, you guys probably heard of him, Thomas Edison. The light bulb. He was the American inventor that has over 1,000 patents. General Electric now works with power and water, oil and gas, energy management, aviation, healthcare, transportation, and capital. When you add up all those things that they do, that equals money, and tons of it. The company currently has over 300,000 people working for them, which is one of the most employed businesses of our generation. Moving in to number 3, we have Toyota. This company is worth $236 billion. It's a Japanese company that was founded back in 1937. The founder was Kiichiro Toyoda. And I'm talking about Toyota, not with the T, but with the D. So this is a little confusing. Why did he change the D into the company's name? Well, that's because the company name isn't from his last name. And that's because the headquarters of the company is actually in Toyota with the T, Aichi, which is in Japan. This is the only company to have trillions of dollars in their revenue. They have made 12 trillion in equity. If you go to their networks and stats and revenue streams, it's all in the trillions. It is insane. That is like, how many zeros is that? If they close down shop today, they would have money for decades to come, and their money will probably make money and then have grandparents or grandchildren. What am I talking about right now? So they currently have over 338,000 employees, and that number is rapidly growing. They need way more people. So do you guys want a job for Toyota? I'll put the application in the description below. Okay, for you guys, it's not actually down there. There is just no slowing down this company. So who beats Toyota? Well, coming in at number, we have Walmart, and they're worth $446 billion. Walmart is actually the youngest company on this list, and believe it or not, they were founded in 1994, which makes me older than Walmart. How many of you guys are older than Walmart? Quickly put hashtag older than Walmart in the description below. So the headquarters is in Mississauga, Ontario, which is really close to where I live. Originally, Walmart was a discount store that tried to compete with Zellers, but Zellers was taken over by Target, which makes no more competition for Walmart. Walmart was first Woolco, and that company was founded back in 1962. Okay, so maybe Walmart is young, but they were sort of established. It wasn't until much later until the store was bought out by Walmart, and they converted all of its signs and banners to say Walmart. At the time, the old company had about 22 locations. But as little time went by, things exploded, blew up, and now Walmart is everywhere. They went on to become one of the fastest growing companies in history. So the man behind it all is Sam Walton. He is worth $100 billion. And oh yeah, he also founded Sam's Club. So now it's time to reveal the most successful business of all time, or our time. Can you guys guess what I haven't listed as of yet, or what the number 1 is? Well, did you guess Apple? They're worth $700 billion. The company was founded in Cupertino, California, which was back in 1976 in a garage by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne. They currently have 437 stores in 15 countries, and the current CEO right now is Tim Cook. Steve Jobs passed away not too long ago, but the company still lives on and it's growing. So they're actually on pace to be worth, the first company ever, $1 trillion. I know I was talking about Toyota being in the trillions, but their net worth isn't 1 trillion. It's so insane to think about it, but it's gonna happen in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. If we keep buying Apple products, it's gonna happen. Guys, let's stop this and let's move on to Android. Oh yeah, I just bought an iPhone yesterday. Damn it. So right now the company employs over 60,000 people with another 3,000 people who are part-time. The company initially struggled because there was so much competition at the time with IBM and Microsoft. But their biggest rivals was actually the ones that kept them in business, believe it or not. The competition between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs was the reason why the two companies that they backed became mega companies. Without their competition, they would have failed. But they tried to outcompete each other and they succeeded. And guess what? Bill Gates was actually the one that gave Steve Jobs a lot of money back in the day to keep his business from going bankrupt. Well, there you guys have it. That was the top 10 most successful business of now.
The 10 richest banks in the world. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Aluxers, it's nice to have you back for another alux.com original video. There's a saying that says, give a man a gun and he can rob a bank, give a man a bank and he can rob the world. We found that pretty interesting, so we decided to do some digging and rank the 10 richest banks out there. Here's the list. Number 10. Barclays PLC. $2.26 trillion in assets. Established in the 1690s, Barclays is one of the leaders in the UK markets. The Barclays PLC Bank is well known to be the proud sponsor of the English Premier League. To break the ice regarding the well-known bank, we can say that the bank has activities in over 50 countries and satisfies the needs of 48 million people. Number 9. Crédit Agricole Group. $2.35 trillion in assets. Headquartered in Paris, it's one of the leading banking groups in France. Its main focus is on rural areas with over 9,000 locations across 60 countries. Number 8. The Bank of China. $2.37 trillion in assets. Considered the oldest bank in China, it is one of the largest state-owned banks in the world. It was established by the government in order to have a stronger grip on the national financial markets. Number 7. Agricultural Bank of China. $2.43 trillion in assets. This is one of the youngest banks in China, established only 45 years ago, focusing on agricultural loans, which exploded to over 24,000 locations. Something you should know, back in 2010, the bank got hijacked and over $7.5 million went missing in the Hebei province. Number 6. JP Morgan Chase & Co. $2.47 trillion in assets. One of the largest banks in the world, JP Morgan Chase & Co. is the result of the merger of 4 banking conglomerates. Chase Manhattan Bank acquired Bank One, Bear Stearns, and Washington Mutual. They were also one of the important players in the 2008 financial crisis, but we're not going to go deep into that one this time. Maybe save it for another video. Number 5. Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group. $2.51 trillion in assets. I know what you're thinking. Since when is a car company in the banking industry? Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group is actually the biggest banking player in Japan. Back in 2005, Mitsubishi Tokyo Financial Group merged with UFJ Holding, and now they're dominating the market in that area. Number 4. BNP Paribas. $2.6 trillion in assets. It is the biggest bank in France, plus the biggest in Europe. With over 200,000 employees, the French have been massive leaders in the financial space. They also own big chunks of other European banks in countries like Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and more. Number 3. China Construction Bank Corporation. $2.6 trillion in assets. Headquartered in Beijing, China, Construction Bank Corporation stands proudly as one of the biggest banks in China, with over 13,500 domestic branches. A few years ago, our friends at Forbes ranked this particular bank as the second most powerful company in the world. But in terms of actual assets, it only ranks 3rd in this ranking. Number 2. HSBC Holdings. $2.75 trillion in assets. HSBC Holdings, known as one of the largest banks in the world, was founded by the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation in 1991 in London as a holding company, and very soon made its mark as the biggest British bank in the world. With offices in 85 countries, they're actively expanding their empire by smart acquisitions of smaller banks from all around the world. Number 1. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, $3.18 trillion in assets. What a surprise! The richest bank in the world is another bank from China. This is officially the biggest bank in China, and based on their assets, also in the world. The bank is a state-owned commercial bank with over 18,000 outlets and 106 overseas branches globally. It employs close to 500,000 people. That's more than the population of Malta, Iceland, or Belize. That wraps up our rankings, but we have something we wanted to ask you guys. What do you think about China owning 4 out of the 10 richest banks in the world? Let us know in the comments. All this talk about banks got us really fired up about the biggest bank robberies in the world, and we're considering doing it as our next video, so be sure to subscribe or you just might miss it. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxer. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. If you want more, we handpicked these videos you might enjoy, or head over to alux.com for the best in fine living content on the planet. Be a part of the largest community of luxury enthusiasts in the world and tell your story. Oh, you're still here, huh? Okay, just because you stuck with us to this point, you're probably wondering, what about the Arab Emirates and all that oil money? Why didn't they make the cut? Well, it turns out the richest bank in the UAE is the National Bank of Abu Dhabi, with only $102.4 billion in assets. So they have a really long way to go until they compete with the big guys. Now subscribe so you don't miss the bank robberies video coming up in a couple of days.
using Powtoon.
There are several kinds of people who borrow money from banks. For simplicity's sake, we'll use a grade system from A to F. A being the highest mark, with F being a fail. If the borrower has an A grade, banks fully trust the person and expect him or her to pay off the loan in full within a certain period. They're usually borrowers who have high worth assets, a sizable bank account, and a stable or high paying job. If it's F, there is no way that person can pay back any loan, mostly because they have no income, no assets, or even a steady job. Borrowers in the middle, grades C to D, are basically the ones who apply for subprime loans. They're the borrowers who usually have low-paying jobs and have a hard time making ends meet. It's also highly likely that they didn't go to college and live in low-income neighborhoods. That's why lenders consider these borrowers as a higher risk, and that means their loans have a higher interest rate, at least 2 percentage points higher compared to borrowers who have an A or B grade. So why do banks lend to the subprime borrower, given that they're more likely to default? According to some banks, they loan to these people with expectations that they will eventually get better paying jobs, and that will let them meet the interest payments. Unfortunately, this only works in theory, since most subprime borrowers have fixed incomes. Most of them are retirees or qualify for fixed government assistance.
Today we're going to take a look at the Trans-Pacific Partnership, potentially the largest trade deal in history, also known as the TPP. There are so many little points to negotiate that talks have been ongoing for 10 years. The 12 countries involved are looking to strengthen their economies by linking them together, and they're already pretty strong, accounting for a combined 40% of global GDP. If it all goes into full effect, it'll build on and supersede a network of past trade deals, like the North American Free Trade Agreement between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Trade between nations will be boosted by eliminating many tariffs and other methods countries often use to protect domestic industries from outside competition. Examples of protected markets are beef and cars in Japan, the dairy and sugar industries in the United States, and state-owned enterprises like Chile's largest copper company and the Vietnamese telecommunications service. Along with eliminating barriers to trade, to create a fair playing field for competing businesses, all countries involved will have to meet certain negotiated standards, like environmental protections that ban trading in endangered species and illegal logging, or enhanced labor standards, like the right to form a union, the abolition of child labor, and banning workplace discrimination. Here, the Obama administration is incentivizing governments to create more responsible social policies in exchange for stronger economic ties with America and some of its closest trading partners. At home, Obama has received pushback from Democrats in Congress concerned the deal would be bad for American workers. They want guarantees the US will enforce rules preventing foreign companies from flooding the US market with goods and services that undercut products made in the good old US of A. Another big criticism is that certain proposed patent and copyright rules in the deal could keep the cost of medicine around the world higher than it should be. Some say the North American agreement negotiated by President Clinton resulted in the loss of hundreds of thousands of American jobs. That may be true, but in the 6 years after NAFTA was enacted, the United States created 2 million jobs each year. So it seems NAFTA helped retool the US economy to produce more higher value goods and services, and that the TTP would continue this trend. And by opening new international markets to service and high-tech businesses in the United States, already a huge source of private job growth in the US economy should see even more expansion. Projections have the TPP increasing American economic output by more than $100 billion a year. But mo money, mo problems. One of the biggest challenges has been to make sure income gains through globalization are spread to all Americans, instead of just going to the top investing class. The elephant in the room in all of this is China, which isn't involved in the talks. That's because one of the main objectives of the deal is to offset the power of China by strengthening North America's connection to several of China's neighbors. And the deal has been crafted in a way to eventually include others, like South Korea, Indonesia, the Philippines, Taiwan, Laos, Colombia, and Thailand. But until then, an initial agreement still must be finalized among the first 12 countries involved, with the legislature of each country needing to pass a vote to accept the TPP's terms and ratify their membership. If successful, trying a transatlantic partnership with the Europeans would follow. Thanks for watching. If you learned a bit about the TPP, hit that like button to help share this video with others like you. You can watch more TDC, such as our ranking of the 10 best presidents in American history, or our video comparing the parliamentary and presidential forms of government. And if you want to learn a lot more about economics and wealth inequality around the world, a great place to start would be with the audiobook Capital in the 21st Century by economist Thomas Piketty. Follow the link below to get a download of this book for free by signing up for a 30-day trial at audible.com. Until next time, for TDC, I'm Bryce Plank. This video was edited by Brendan Plank.